Alright, today I'm going to do something that's purely cosmetic, and the opinion has been quite divided online whether I should do this or not. I'm going to swap out my completely original and perfect O2 Cobra side vents for some crappy used ones that I bought on eBay. I'm going to modify my perfectly good O2 Cobra. A lot of people are saying leave it alone, it's worth more the way it is. Hey, don't hate the player, hate the game. Each to their own. For me, I really like those side vents that came on the Terminators, and I don't know, maybe, what else did they come on? Comment below. Did they come on the Mark 1s? I'm not too sure. I'm in Australia and we've got about 250 of these, so we don't know much about these cars. You never see them. And that's kind of why I love this thing. But having said all of that, mine has it's got around 160,000 miles on it. So it's definitely not the most pristine example of this car you will find. And that's why I'm not too worried about, you know, just playing around with it. And hey, the whole idea of having a car is to make it your own, if you ask a car guy anyway. But no, seriously guys, if I ever want to put these back, obviously I've already got them, I'll keep them, put them away safely. But for now, I just want to play and have some fun. So take a look at this. I've got some green ones here ready to go. And the way these come is they've got these little plastic inserts, which we'll take out in a minute. Also, for those of you who don't know, the way these things mount onto the side of the body are through these clips. So you've got 3 here and you've got another 3 there. So we'll pop those out in a minute. But essentially what needs to happen is those need to come off first. To get these off is quite simple. What you're going to need is a trim removal tool and a rag as well to put underneath so that you don't damage your body. And essentially these will pop off. But just be careful because you can break these. That came off pretty easily, and check it out. So 3 clips there and 3 clips there gets these undone. And now you're left with this mess. It looks like this thing plays a really important role. Check this out. The only thing keeping the rain from coming in to your cabin, this piece of plastic. Because past this, you're kind of almost inside the car. It looks like there's a second skin in there, second metal skin, but nonetheless this is clearly playing a crucial role here. So you know what, I'm going to clean this up and seal this thing back up because I don't like how this is sitting. Alright, that's not going to get cleaner than that. What I'm going to do is run some tape all around here. I'll let this dry, and when I'm ready to put the other piece back on, I'll do it then. For now, I'm just quickly going to take the other side off too. There she goes. Same problem here. So to put these on, we're going to need to paint them. Take all your little trim pieces that go in there out first. Take all your clips out from the back here. To do this job, the Ford color I have is laser red. So it's E9, that's the code. And what you're going to need is a base coat and a top coat. I've got some clear for later on, but before any of that, we're going to need to rub these back. We're going to need to sand these back. I've got some 1200. And I'm just going to go to town. Right, so once you've got everything sanded back to a nice dull finish, kind of like this, where everything is all scuffed up. In some areas, the color has actually worn down to the plastic. So what I don't want to happen is for this paint not to adhere to the plastic. So I've got myself a plastic primer. It's a nice clear morning here. There's no wind whatsoever. And I've got myself one of these, and get a box ready too, which you'll put on top. Just weigh it down with some weight so that the wind doesn't blow it around. Place in the bits you need to paint, and off you go. Of course, protect your hands, get yourself some disposable gloves. I sell these, check out the link if you need some. Lint-free cloth, some wax and grease remover, and clean all this up. Now just one more thing, I'm out in the open here and it's a nice clear sunny day. The humidity is very low and I've got these kind of sitting in dappled light. Some sunlight hitting these is not a bad idea because it will allow the wax and grease remover to evaporate and gas off. It will also heat up these plastics so that they're a little bit softer, which does help promote the paint adhere to these surfaces. I'm mostly focusing on the edges here where the paint has worn away. Light coats. What I tend to do is give these 15-20 minutes to dry, and then in about 20 or 30 minutes I'm going to put a second coat on. This time just a little bit thicker than the previous coat. And I'm gonna let that cure for about an hour and then we're gonna put the primer on. Okay, so now that I've let that dry for a good hour, this is what I've got left. Everything's got a nice coat of plastic primer on it, but it's time to put surface primer on. So give it a good shake for about a minute. I've removed the plastic trim, the small plastic trims, because I'm not painting those red, I'll be painting those black, so no need to prime those. But after a good shake, start off light. After a minute or two, I'm gonna give it a second coat. Okay, and basically do that a couple more times until the coverage is nice and even. And once you've got enough coats on, find a quiet and safe spot and let these dry. Okay, it's the next morning here and it's time to get painting. So I've got myself a Scotch-Brite pad. I'm just quickly gonna rub these back. And then it's time to paint. Base coat first, give it a good shake, 3 to 5 minutes. Now, this is a metallic color, so you're gonna want 3 to 5 light coats. I'm gonna put 6 on because I want the coverage to be nice and even. You don't want this to be patchy because it will really show through. You want about 10 minutes between coats, 5 or 6 coats. That's it, that's all the first coat is. All right. So that's the base metallic on, and this is what we've got going on now. A little bit different to the originals, but that's okay because the top coat, well, that still needs to go on, and that's a lot better. You know the drill, 6 coats. So let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, they're not green anymore, that's for sure. All right, the next phase will be some clear. Quick dose of wax and grease remover. Just gonna let that dry for a sec. Now at this point, I'm also ready to coat the string pieces in some clear as well, because while I want them black, I don't want them going all faded and gammy, so I found that some clear on these plastic bits really helps keep them in good condition. Obviously these were primed to start with plastic primer, so now we can put some clear on them. Nice. Okay, so while that's drying, let's address this problem. Okay, so as I showed earlier, this just isn't adhesive anymore, and I want to try to stick it back on the car because I don't want moisture getting through those holes. So this is clean. As you can see, my fingers are clean. Despite the fact that this looks dirty, I've cleaned it up as much as I can. So what I'm going to attempt to do is use some double-sided tape. So let's give that a crack. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm a lot happier with this compared to this. So I'm just gonna quickly do that side too. Better. Well, the rain's really set in here, and good thing I've done all the paint work. Looking good. The hard bit's done. Let's throw these on. Now, this is going to be touch dry in about an hour, but really you probably want to leave it for about a day to cure and kind of let the paint dry as much as possible before you start handling it. But I've done that, so I can safely put this in here now. Not looking too shabby. All right, moment of truth. So make sure all my clips are in. Yep, and they're looking good. So there it is, guys. Pretty happy with the results, I must say. It looks quite nice and it's clicked in well. I'm going to need to cut these back, so I'm going to need to polish these, but you cannot do that for about a month after things have been painted, because this paint needs to cure, it needs to gas off. It takes about a month. So only give these a good polish after, you've had it on the car for about a month, or you've had them resting and drying somewhere for about a month. All in all, I think this was a nice little upgrade. I'm quite happy with it. If you like what you saw today, click that like button. And if you want to see more content on this Mustang, make sure you sub. Speaking about more content, if you want to see what this Australian Mustang is all about, check out the videos I'll link in the thumbnails on the end screen. I know they're not to everyone's taste, and some of you will absolutely can me on social media for taking the original side scoops off and not keeping the car original and all of that. And in a way, I agree with you, but this is a mod that can be reversed, okay? If I ever get bored of those, I've got the old ones right here. So no harm, no foul. Make sure you pick yourself up some tools and supplies before you start if you do want to do this yourself. Also get yourself some great disposable gloves. I worked long and hard to develop those. It took about 6 months to get them right, so I hope you do check them out. If you're in the States, they are on Amazon. But in any case, I hope you like this, and if you did, go ahead and try this on your car. Enough chit chat from me. Check out the other videos, and I'll see you next time.